Start. Here we go. All right, good morning. I want to welcome everyone to the Builders Call, and so exciting to see so many faces and so many faces on video. You guys know how I love seeing you on video versus your name in little black boxes. Makes it so much better. And we have an incredible group on today. So as to set some context for this conversation, we are still doing this call the first and third Tuesdays of the month at 9 a.m. It is for anyone that is wanting to grow, build, scale their organization, be in collaboration. It doesn't matter if you have a group of 2,000 or none. This call is for you. And I think it's really important in a couple of ways. Number one, for the brand new person to be able to learn faster from people that have already gone and created what they want to create. And number two, for the person that already has a group of hundreds or thousands in their organization, to stay in touch with what's real and current for people that are newer and building, because you're all going to have people in your groups and organizations that are building, and the more they can be part of a larger conversation, the better it is. So we recognize that all of you are leaders on this call and probably doing your own things weekly anyway, and so this is an opportunity to come together as a larger organization. The topic that I wanted to throw out there for today, and of course we always keep these calls open such that if there's any topics that you have or questions that you have that you want to make sure and get some collaboration on, please throw them in the chat below and we'll for sure work them into the conversation. But the topic for today is, and I just came up with this brushing my teeth like 5 minutes ago, which is why you didn't see it in any promotion. You know, sometimes, I don't know if you guys have this experience, however, it's like, when the inspiration hits me, I'll know what we're going to be talking about. Anybody have that experience besides me? No, you guys are all way more planned and strategic and thought out. I tend to find things are happening and changing in the moment all the time. So coming off of the event last week with Build, the topic that's really, I guess, the thing that I've been thinking about as a topic that's been relevant is treating this business like a business. And so I would love to know, when you hear that from the perspective of attraction and recruiting and building and scaling and growing an organization, when you hear treating this business like a business, what are some of the things that come to mind when you hear that? I don't everybody go.
Hey, Casey.
Like crew.
Sorry, I'm driving right now.
Okay.
When I hear treat it like a business, that means, be organized, have some KPIs laid out so that you can win at a high level, and you have a GPS on where you're going, and then, treat your business like a business. So, live in intention, I guess. I think that's a good way to put it. Live in intention and make sure you have accountability in place.
Okay, so KPIs, strategy, clear intention on where you're going, and accountability. Great. What else comes up for you guys when I say treat this business like a business?
Focus and prioritizing your time.
Focus and prioritizing time. Cool. What else?
Leverage.
Leverage.
We're getting stuck in the junk that doesn't matter.
Cool. What else?
Having a business plan and a schedule that you actually stick to.
A business plan and a schedule. There's this thing that Rick talks about called My Perfect Week. And while it's interesting, I find out my experience is, if I'm alive and intentional and creating, every week's a perfect week. So anyway, however, there's more to it than that, of course. All right. What else comes up? Treating this business like a business.
Would you hire you?
Okay. Would you hire you? I will take one more. Unless there is not one more to be.
Will had something good. He's being shy now. Come on, Will.
Having some microphone issues over here.
No shyness. Okay, so we just came off of the Build event last week. Many of you that are on this call were at that event. And in the context of treating the business like a business, what was the impact of your attendance at that event on you and your business? I'd like to get some shares on that specifically. Because about half were there, half were not.
For me, it was a couple things. I haven't been doing real estate long, but I've been working long. I mean, I spent, I got an MBA, I got an undergrad, I got all these things. I worked in real estate, and in 2 years, this has done more for me than all of that has done, which is huge. I've basically, I was looking at the numbers. I was talking to Richard this morning. I've basically become financially free. And what I got from the conference was, it's still early. This is just starting. It's the biggest opportunity in real estate, and only 10% are taking advantage of it. And what else I got from it was the resounding story. Everyone on stage, this has changed their lives. They basically become the one in their family. And it's actually not that hard.
Cool. Thank you for sharing. All right, we'll take 2 or 3 others from people that were at there in the context of treating your business like a business. What was the impact of that event on your business? And when I say business, because this is focused around attraction, recruiting, building an organization, would love for you to speak to that impact.
Jesse has something to say.
Jesse does.
I always have something to say. I mean, for me, Casey, it was purely the state of being, leaving that event, both at the event and leaving the event. I was looking back at a text message I sent back to a larger potential attractor I've been working on for a while. I sent them this video message, and I looked at it, I'm like, I just look lit up and excited, not like in an insane way, in a passionate, focused, like it just re-energized me. I feel very much more, hearing all the stories of how EXP has impacted people in a positive way always gets me more excited. And I'm just, this week, it's just been more fun to reach out to people and talk to them about EXP. It's that state that I'm in now. Definite impact.
Okay, cool. One of the things that I love about what you just shared is that it's that concept of putting your oxygen mask on first. And when you're treating this like a business and constantly in the service of others and reaching out to others and working with others and supporting others, is the benefit of attending the event for yourself. I'm now coming back to that with a larger vision, I'm sure, even though that wasn't the exact words that you use, and an energy that's different and feeling energized. So like for those of you that are on this call that did not have the benefit of attending the event in person last week, is how you spent your time last week. Did it leave you feeling like you have a bigger vision, inspired and energized, and showing up and engaging in an entirely different way in your week? And if so, great, please share what you're doing to create that, because that was a byproduct. When we talk about treating the business like a business, feeding and fueling yourself to keep going and moving forward is such a key thing. I love that you shared that, Jesse. Okay, what else for those that were in attendance?
I got something that Cortland said up in the suite in that kind of more private mastermind we had. And I'm guilty of telling myself, I need FLQAs, right? And it's like, I need, right? And I think some of my conversations were coming across that way. And one of the things Cortland pointed out is that energy transfers through. And so now I'm more, I got lit up. I'm like, this is a life-changing move for someone, and I'm going to change their life. And now I'm trying to just use more of that energy of, this is for them. This is not, I need an FLQA. This is, I'm going to go help someone change their life.
I love that. And Scott, you're changing your life because you're, aren't you getting married? Are you engaged or something?
I am engaged.
Okay.
Wedding will be May of 24.
So I can see why the FLQA conversation may be more front and center.
True.
And what a cool
Right.
opportunity.
I hear people say that. People say, oh, I need to get FLQAs. I need, I'm at 8, I need 2 more. I'm at 28, I need 2, whatever. I need FLQAs.
Yeah.
It's true, but it's not, that comes off, and no one wants to be your FLQA, right?
Exactly. Exactly. That is so true. So, in the context of being outward focused and shifting energy around that and recognizing the gift and the opportunity to really make an impact for someone in that way, that is a huge mental shift of being out doing the same exact activities. Now, I will say that as we went through, and we're going to talk a little bit when I share about treating the business like a business. However, what we noticed, because we're able to pull metrics for our entire organization, is there's many people that have incredible organizations that just like literally, there's a difference between what in concept it means to go build and grow an organization with an EXP and what that happens and when that means for your life. And then there's a difference where you have, 50, 100, 200, 300 people in your organization and are not getting paid on that because you're not building personally and the impact that that can have in your life. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that on today's call. However, Joseph, you've got your hand up. Would love to hear from you. I know you were at the event as well.
Yes, good morning, everybody.
Good.
So one of my big takeaways in the context of business was again, everybody talks about it, right? The power of events. However, what really stood out to me this time was that in our businesses, like in any entrepreneurial business, having the people that you're nurturing, being physically present with you in a space has a huge impact. And so, whether you're inviting people to church or you run a restaurant or any kind of business framework, having, people join you at these events really digs deep and creates an impact in their lives. I know everybody that I invited to this particular event has committed and has, or is already joined. And so I'm going to be hyper focused on trying to duplicate that success and maybe creating an infrastructure to teach, other leaders in my organization to duplicate that process as well.
I love that you mentioned that. You must have been reading my mind, Joseph. So, in this context of the leverage that comes from attending events and bringing people to events is unlike anything else. It's unlike any other way to grow your business and grow your organization because of the energy of the event, the one-on-one time that you just mentioned, and people getting a feel. People make decisions based on emotions and justify them with reason and logic, getting a feel for what that experience is. Rick had 8 people that were individual guests confirmed and committed for the event, actually 9. And we ended up with 7 that showed up in person, and the impact on those, unbelievable. One of them was a broker that is absolutely not interested in EXP. It's actually the broker that when he left Keller Williams and hung his license with an independent that had 3 other agents in it, that's where his license was. And this person was like, don't talk to me about EXP, not interested in EXP, not even open about EXP. And he's like, well, you're crazy. If you're a broker and your job is to recruit agents, why wouldn't you be at the #1 event where you're going to learn how to become a better recruiter to build agents? And so she came to the event, and I won't get into the entire story. However, lots of tears, lots of emotion. And the comment was, thank you for thinking enough of me to get me here. And we'll let you know as the rest of the details become final. However, that is the power of an event, right? It wasn't a it wasn't a join EXP. It was a finding out what the value was to that person based on what they're doing, and then actually being a value to someone else in their business and putting that in that way. Joseph, I love that. Activate program for attraction. I agree. And would definitely be behind putting that together and implementing and executing that. Will, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I guess I'm a bit obsessed, but I went through and watched all the videos again last night. And what stood out to me the most was AJ Mita. He said something that really stuck to me, and it forced me to even get into action a little faster. He said, to the people that I call and deny me, it'll mean nothing. But the people that accept the call and take on the opportunity, he said it'll mean everything to them. So it'll mean nothing to the people that, deny me, but it'll mean everything to the people that accept the call and accept the opportunity, because it'll change their lives and their families' lives.
I love that. There was, and speaking of that, somebody reached out to me via text message while I was at the event last week and said, this is the text message that I got. Hi, I won't say her name. I'm not sure if my name rings a bell, but I was talking to another person the other day and she brought your name up. You might have seen a missed call from me. I was calling to ask you a quick favor. It takes about 3 minutes to explain what might be a good time for me to call you back. So I don't recognize either one of those names, like literally don't even know them. And I just said, how can I help? I'm not in a place for a call. And so she said, I have this awesome scholarship opportunity I'm working on. No problem. When's a better time? And I said, next week, we're at the Build conference. I'm assuming this is an EXP agent, right? And I leave directly to another conference Thursday to Sunday. And she said, oh, that sounds exciting. I hope you have a good time. Would Tuesday the 18th work? And be a good day to shoot you a call? I said, sure. And I said, and I'm sorry, the person that she was using to get a call with me, I have no idea who that is. Like the name didn't ring a bell. And I said, by the way, that name doesn't ring a bell. How does that person know me? And here's what she said. Quote, she was kind enough to have 2 Zoom appointments with me in 2020 about how to scale my business. She and her husband have a huge real estate team at EXP. She's fantastic at selling and persuading. That's why I suggested her. She thinks highly of you. I still don't remember who that person was. It was 3 years ago. I had a conversation with them and haven't seen him since. However, back to anchoring the point that you're making. And she reached out Sunday to see if that would be a good time. I was catatonic Sunday. And so I get a message from her this morning. I call her while I'm walking the dog. She's a college student that is making money going to college by doing Cutco presentations, Cutco knives. And so I'm on the receiving experience of this interaction, thinking about what we do to build organizations within EXP and this whole attraction and recruiting process. And number one, she was ballsy enough to ask for a referral. Like, who do you know? And she obviously asked for a qualified referral because based on what she said about why she was reaching out to me, right? So it wasn't just who do you know? She was very specific about the kind of person she was looking for. And then, she used a warm market to enter a warm market versus just a cold call where there'd be no connection. Now, of course, that didn't really work so well because I don't remember. I was 3 years ago and I talked to so many darn people, right? However, then she doesn't get the appointment. I say next week because I'm putting her off, figuring she's not going to call me back anyway. Think about how many times people do this with you or you do this with other people. I'm like, next week, right? So I don't give her a specific day and time on the next week. I just give her the next week. And then she shows up exactly when she gets a specific day. And then she shows up. It was 6:48 a.m. I woke up to a message from her on the day that she said she would reach out to get a specific time. So I'm already wanting to recruit her into real estate because of all of these things that I know are what create success. And she was the follow through, the ask, the how she asked, the working through networks of people. It may not be the person that when you sponsor a person, you're never sponsoring a person, you're sponsoring their network, right? So Scott, it's great if you come to EXP. However, the influence and the power that sits behind you, Scott, is all the relationships that you have in your network, right? And so often we get camped out on one person. So maybe EXP is not for you, Scott, but who do you know, right? And how often are we asking for people where there's a credibility and a qualified specific criteria of someone that we're looking for to get that kind of introduction or a connection made? And so as I was being on the receiving end of that experience, and then I find out on the conversation, I call her while I'm walking the dog this morning. And I find out that she's like, oh, you know, she's, you know, does her thing. And I'm like, yes, I know Cutco very well. My husband's in real estate, used to give those, you know, as closing gifts. And I said, we have the scissors and we have the ice cream scooper. They're amazing, right? And she still locked me in on an appointment. Why? I'm watching a 1-hour Cutco appointment with her next week. Except for I'm going to make her work for it because I said this week's not good. Check back with me next week, right? I want to see how she continues to show up, and I'm going to support her in what she's doing. I'll go through her 1-hour presentation so that she gets credit for it. And then I'm going to ask her if she's ever considered, you know, real estate as a career, right? So every single one of us, when we talk about treating this business like a business, is how are we showing up in the business? And for those of you that have shared so far, and if there's anyone else that wants to share specifically on in the context of treating it like a business and your physical attendance at the Build event last week and the impact of that on your business, would still love to hear one or more of those. Yeah, Selena put in there workman mantra, serve regardless of opportunity, right? Which is an incredible saying and way to be and show up. That it's a great check-in, right? Am I doing what I said I do when I said I'm going to do it? Am I leading from the front? Meaning, of course I'm going to be at the event, and who's coming with me? And not only that, how are we going to make it the most beneficial use of time while there to invest in people and relationships and support them in their careers and their lives? And so I think there's a bigger conversation that we can definitely develop here around that. However, want to just check in on if there was anyone else that was feeling inspired to share on that topic that was at the event. Okay, so we'll keep moving. So let's look at a calendar. Oh,
I'll share something, Casey.
hey, Tom, your connection is not good.
Yeah, if you're not opposed, I'll share just along lines of.
Tom,
you
we
hear me
can't
now?
hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Keep
Sorry.
talking. Yeah, you're cutting out.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Testing 1, 2, 3. I'll stand right where I'm at if you can hear me now.
Yes.
Cool. The event was amazing. It was a shot in the arm that I needed. I talked to Brent said that to me before. We all need a shot in the arm, and I just had some personal things that seemed like a train wreck out of control before I went, and I was questioning going. And I'm so glad I went, not just because of what AJ Maida and everyone said that everyone's already said previously, but just being in the environment. You might rationalize and say, well, I can see the videos later of all the speakers, and that's true, but it's not the same as being there, not at all. Especially when the emotion of the person that Casey mentioned that Rick had brought, and she came to learn how to recruit, and the emotion that she got being there, it's totally different. One of the best things I got was hallway conversations with some of the speakers, like Gil Ramos. Talked to him in the hallway about some specific things that he said that spoke to my life. Angela and Chuck Fazio, same thing. The interactions you get with people, even on the way there, on the flight there, I got up at 3 a.m. to roll the dice to catch a 5 a.m. flight because I wasn't even on the flight. I had to be standby. And I got on the flight. And because I did, I was talking to another EXP agent who helped me get a listing that I'm signing today. So not only from a production standpoint, but also from just a recruiting and mindset standpoint, just the relationships, the conversations, the things that aren't advertised that you're going to get from these events were just so good. It was exactly what I needed. So can't say enough good things about it.
Love that. Thank you for sharing. And Richard, it looks like you had a question that I missed.
Yes. Hey, Casey. All right.
Thank you, Selena caught it.
Yeah. Thank you, Selena. So here's the question. So actually, me and Will were talking about this morning. He was like, does anybody call to recruit you? And actually, after me and Will's call, somebody actually did. This guy's a TL with KW. obviously they're super, excited to try and get you to come back over. But how do I take the meeting, but with the expectation of, I want you to look at my stuff too. Like, what's the dialogue around someone who's trying to recruit you to get them to come look at yours? Cause you show me mine, I'll show you yours or whatever.
So I would just say, I'm sure there's lots of different answers on this call and would love to hear anyone that has something to share on that. But I would say I'm happy to give you an hour of my time. Given that, if what I have has more value than what you have, you'll join me versus me joining you.
Okay. I like that. Anybody else have a great answer to it? I want to hear all the answers.
Yeah, bro, I'll just add that, hey, I know that you're looking at adding amazing talent to your bench. I have the same goal as well. So let's do a meeting of the minds and collaborate and see what we could do.
Cool.
That's the first thing you want to do, is set the premise, and then from there, just meet with them, listen to what they have to say, and they're going to give you their whole spiel. And I would say listen 90% of the time, and then you can go in with what you're doing and what your vision is. And obviously they have a pool, and we have the entire ocean available. So they're not going to be able to compete with the vision that you.
I would just send them the link, the model explain accidentally. I'm like, I'm sorry, I was trying to send you my Calendly.
Love that. Cool. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so let's talk about treating the business like a business, and specifically what I want to talk about right now are events. So we've got EXPCon that's coming up in October. We've got the Hawaii event, which only a couple of hundred people are getting into, and they're closing it out. We've got the Cabo event. Build will be out on the road next year, and shareholders. So as you look at your calendar of events, here's some questions I'm going to invite you to ask yourself as a leader of self. Number one, which events over the next 12 months am I committed to? And not deciding a week before or 2 weeks before, like treating your business like a business, right? There were so many of our leaders that I know, because I reached out to, that have organizations of 50 or more, and they're like, oh, I'm on family vacation. Oh, there's another event I'm going to. Oh, I'm not going to make it this year. Like, they're not utilizing the events to get as a business strategy, right? And so in the absence, like, casualness leads to casualties is the bottom line. Casualness leads to casualties. So I'm going to invite each and every one of you as leaders of selves, look at the next 12 months of events and commit right now. Which events are you going to be at? And then once those registrations are open and available, get registered. Like EXPCon's our next major event. My question is, are you registered? Do you know how many people you're bringing with you? Have you booked your flights, and have you booked your hotel? Because if the answer is not yes to all of those things, then you haven't actually committed to that event. And so the energy of going into conversations in the marketplace is totally different when you have those things done yourself versus when you do not. We had in the leadership session in our room at the event that was, specific in a intentionally a much smaller group of people, where we had Cortland speaking. He talked about the highest form of energy being a thought, and that those thoughts eventually become things, and those things are very powerful. So if your thought is, yeah, I'm thinking, depending on who I get coming or who's going, or if I get people coming, I'm going to go to that event. Now, when you're out having conversations for attraction and recruiting, that is the energy that's getting transmuted and put out to the people that you're talking to, even if you're not talking about it, because you're not committed. Versus check all of those boxes. I'm going, my tickets are booked, my reservations are booked, and now I'm out having conversations in the marketplace. The energy, because you have had that thought and you've taken action on it, the energy of that influences the people that you're sitting in front of in a way that it's impossible to influence them otherwise, because you have got yourself dialed in. So my invitation would be, look at the next year, and whether it's every single event that you're going to use because you've got big goals and you're aligning your actions with those and putting yourself in a place where you're going to get the maximum bounce or lift, as Brent talks about, is get yourself set up right now. Like, make that a priority and then treat it like a business, because you're working it like a business and people will follow you. So if I look at what we did going into this event, we were the most organized, the most strategic, and the most intentional that we've ever been at an event, period. I don't know if you felt it or experienced it. However, we felt it and experienced it on our end on what that was like, right? And it was working on it literally months in advance of all of the conversations for guests and attendees, to following that through, to having a block of hotel rooms booked under our names, to getting meal reservations, thank you, Selena, set up for lunches and dinners. So we had groups of 12, and then looking based on who was attending the event, who's going to be most strategic to have at those tables based on what they need and where they're at, and then just rolling people into those. And then down to like, how can we make an even greater investment in our community? And so we brought Cortland in. What can we do to get people there and set themselves up to win and be present at the event by starting Monday morning and having people arrive the day before? Like, every single thing was thought out, was done intentionally and done on purpose to create a bigger impact and a higher investment in the people that we're investing in. And so, like, if you're going to utilize the events in that way, like, these are some of the conversations that you're going to want to start having right now as it relates to EXPCon in October, and what your strategy is going to be going into that, and what your action plan is, and how you've got yourself set up. And of course, obviously past October, as you're looking at the next 12 months. So when we're talking about treating this business like a business, I mean, holy smokes. Yes, we can get reports from corporate. Who are all the people in our organization that have 50 or more agents? We can see how many FLQAs those people have. Oh, we wanted to do something to recognize people. And this is just by way of example. I'm sure you guys have much more creative ideas than the ones that I came up with for, an engraved pen. But it was like, what's something that they'll carry with them, that they'll use every day, that can be inspiration, that's a reminder, that's something they can touch, that's an acknowledgement of how far they've come and where they're, a reminder of where they're going. Like, those were done with that intent and the investment behind that. So that all took like time. It took organization. It took finding out who was going to be there, who's not there, getting the address of all those people, like all of this coordination that goes in. I love that you love your pen, Leo, that goes into like investing in people, right? So one of the greatest things that we recognize is that you guys all are so much individual leaders of self, and you all have your own visions, and you all have your own brands, and you all have your own things that you're doing. And so as it relates to being intentional and, treating this part of the business like an actual business, where are the places that, as you take self-assessment, that you can take it to the next level for you, that's going to then have an impact all the way through your organization, right? And maybe it is something as simple as like I noticed this because I was, thinking about this. We never think about things until we're actually experiencing this firsthand. So James Stroop had sent out a text message, and it was a text message to a bunch of leaders, and they were looking for, responses, right? And I didn't respond when I got it, and 2 days later and a week later, I had not responded, and it was just, it was an oversight, and I hadn't thought about it. But darn it, I was thinking about it when I was sending text messages out to everybody in our organization that had 50 or above, that I wasn't getting responses back from about register, are you coming? And then I'm like, okay, so starts from the top, right? I could look at myself and go, wow, what if I did that one thing differently, right? And what would be the impact from a leadership perspective, energetically, right? With thought being the highest form of energy. I see that text message come through. There's someone asking for a response from me for something that they need, and I respond. What if energetically that was what I was put out? And how would that have changed the experience that I had as we were attempting to get people registered for the Monday segment? to figure out who was actually going to be in the room so he didn't miss anyone, right? So when you get down to like the granular level of what leadership means, like I'm always looking at myself, like, how can I be a better leader? And quite often the things where I'm getting frustrated are areas that, because it's a place that I have for me to improve as well. So the reason why I'm bringing all this up in the context of this conversation is that treating this business like a business will pay you like a business. Treating it like a hobby will pay you like a hobby. Generally, hobbies cost money. They don't make you money, right? And so there is a mindset, and many of you are already doing this. And some of you are new, so you're getting an earful of being a new person on this call of like what it takes to be in that mindset of treating it like a business, showing up like a business, being a leader of self in the business to be able to influence other people in business. And yes, Scott, love that. The events are investment, not an expense. So would love to open up this part of the call now for any questions, thoughts, feedbacks, things that have come up since we've been in this conversation that you want to share or that you want to ask.
Thank you, Casey, for your leadership. I'm guilty of not responding to messages as well, so I will acknowledge that and energetically, right? I love what you said. And I'm going to take that on, to respond to every message and it's just, yeah, it connecting it to the fact that when we lead from energetic point, then that's going to contribute, to the rest of the organization. So I appreciate you and your leadership and saying that. I'm taking that on as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Scott, you came off mute. Go.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys for all that you've done for us as leaders in this organization, both at the Build event and throughout the past 6 months to a year with everything you've done with Empire Builders and everything. I met so many people at the event, or just people that are with EXP that are somewhat orphaned, and they're like, who's your sponsor? And they're like, well, I don't have that. And so the fact that you brought Cortland in and you do all this extra stuff, I am grateful for that. And I know that EXP is awesome, but the organization you're in means a lot. And I appreciate what you guys are doing for us.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Good morning, guys. Jesus Martinez. Just want to give my feedback. I had a great time with me, my team. And like I said, this is a great opportunity just to have a, Casey, Rick, everybody out there in the high places that we can come and be able to rely on them, because the market, as we see, is shifting and changing. So we need to be more than ever united so that we can have a way. How can we survive? By doing this, getting to joining, getting ideas, putting our thoughts together, and that is gonna make us stronger. That will make us be a stronger team that we can overcome anything that it comes. And by having these type of meetings, which these are great meetings that we're gonna be helping each other, going to the events that we can promote. That way we can attract more people as we attract. We're gonna be making a change. It's like when you're selling a house, you put a house on a price, you're dominating the block, then the price, the prices are gonna be changing on that community. Same thing with the real estate business right now. This is a model that we need that we have. If we put our minds and thoughts together, which I see that you guys are doing it. So I'm so happy that I came and found you guys, that I'm gonna do my best, and I'm gonna try to overcome anything that is out there, so I can be focusing on ESP, so that way we can attract more agents to come. Then we're gonna be doing a difference out there for the other big corporations that I'm gonna see. So that's my feedback. Thank you, Rick, Casey, for your dedication. Also Leo and Joseph and everybody out there who I met. I'm really thankful, and I will pray for you guys every day.
Thank you so much, Jesus. And for those of you that haven't met Jesus yet, he is Rick and I met him in Palm Springs about 4 weeks ago. We were flying in there for some personal stuff. And we just said, hey, we're going to be in Palm Springs. Who knows someone there? Like, is there anybody you want us to meet with while we're there? And Joseph Trujillo, who was on the call, said yes. And so he drove in from LA. We met and had lunch, and that resulted in, influencing Jesus's decision to not just come to the event. However, have two people that mean a lot to him come to the event as well. And we got some time there, and at the end, over a meal. And I love getting that text message from you, Jesus, that said, hey, we're family now, let's grow. And so, the power of events and the power of community and the power of what we're doing and building together is, it's really important, and it's valuable. So my invitation to you would be, value yourself enough to make sure you are in the room at the next one for what you need to be re-energized and have your vision grow to the next level, and value the people that you care about enough to get them in the room with you so that they have that same opportunity. That is what events are for. That is what the events are about. And when they become a part of the business versus an extra to your business, it's just what we do, right? It's part of a cadence, and it's part of a cycle. And it's not a matter of if I'm going, of course I'm going. The question is, who's coming with me? And you start to treat them in that way of like, not a, do I need to decide if I am, or am I going to book my family vacation during that time? Because we know a year in advance of when the events are. It's like, wow, how am I going to use this as leverage and investing in my organization in a way that I is so much more than I could ever do personally and alone, right? So when you think about it, somebody said leverage at the beginning of this conversation, let's say that you had 10 people from your organization that attend an event with you, and over the course of 3 days, let's say they got 25 hours of training and influence. That's 250 hours that's been invested into your organization that you didn't have to do by virtue of being at the event with people from your organization. Same thing, you put that into a prospect conversation, you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 prospects that come with you that are not with the XP to an event, and the hundreds of hours of investment that's now happened in those people during that time. The question becomes, how do we become better inviters? How do we become someone that creates a picture, that creates a commitment, and moves another person to action when they don't actually know what they're taking action towards because they haven't experienced it yet? So that leads us back into this conversation, and I'd love to get some collaboration on this. And this is Joseph. Is Joseph still on? Yeah, he's still on with us, because he talked about creating an activate on the attraction side. For those of you that I'm not sure, we got feedback. You don't read our emails because they look like emails that you get from a million other people. However, email is one of the key communication points for what's coming up. And so we also use Empire Builders Pro Facebook group. However, we recognize a lot of people don't look at that either. So we've had changed strategies to having Rick actually physically text from his phone. And we do that through a Reach app. So you get it as an individual text versus a group text. However, it's physically from him. And we've gotten some feedback of, oh, we don't read those either because, it looks like it's, could be a bot or somebody that works for you versus Rick. No, it's actually Rick when Rick texts, and it's actually me when I text.
Actually, that personal text actually worked for me this morning. I didn't know I'm having this call until I got the text. So thank you.
Cool. Well, we're continuing to communicate in a bunch of different ways, hoping that the more that we talk about all the different ways that we're communicating, that people are seeing the communications and that they are effective. So thank you for that. Thank you for that feedback, Jose. In that though, we're launching, and Tom reads Rick's text. Rick will be happy to know that. We're launching Activate, which Selena talked about at Build and was also in the email. And this is for production. And it's a 2-day commitment. It's for agents that want to get into production, that have been in production and are not, or that just need a little kick and a boost and want to do it in community. We put it as $49 if registered by a certain date, which I'll make sure Selena gets the dates. I'll have her put them in the chat below. And then it's 30 days of essentially success habits in a community within that, all doing the same thing, and the accountability that goes with that community, daily huddles, all those kind of great things that people that really want to get into the production side. And so Selena there is a grounding call date and time that's been sent out. However, if you could put it in the chat below, that would be great, because and the registration link for that. So for you as leaders in your organization, I know this is a production conversation, however, we're going to roll it into attraction as well. On the production side, for anyone in your organization that you feel could use support with production, is wanting help with production, or be in a community where they're going to get a boost, please disseminate the invite to them through however you communicate with your organizations. And there's the launch call link in the chat below. You can grab that. Selena will be going through and explaining exactly what it is, what they're choosing into, and then executing that over 30 days. So look for that on the production side and support in that way. And then Joseph, I think it was you that said, hey, let's have a form of activate for building and recruiting. And I would, I think that's a fabulous idea. So for you, I mean, a lot of people that are on this call have a lot of experience in that. What are some of the things that you feel would be most important and most valuable? And I don't know that we'd need a full 2 days on it. However, we could do, something that then has some kind of community and self-accountability and action plan behind it. Tell me more of what you were thinking or would like to see.
Hey, Casey, it's interesting you bring this up. First I'll ask, like Jesse, anybody else, do you guys have a course, or do you have like an agent attraction fast start out there already that we could look at? And if not, go ahead, Jesse.
I was just going to say, one of the resources I use is Casey's 6-week builders bootcamp. Like I truly, if someone wants like a deeper dive, multiple modules, Casey, I'm using that one. I've got like a 20-minute how to launch agent attraction. I can drop that link of that recording in the chat. Happy to share that with you. And I don't know, does anyone else have any? Casey, do you have, besides the 6-week builder bootcamp, do you have other recorded fast start resources you use?
See,
Video has one, someone said.
Yeah, I point everyone to that, just because I found it's like timeless. And however, if there's something different or better, we're always open for, growing and improving, obviously.
So with that said, I actually started an outline because I was gonna build out a course, and it kind of went like this. So first, I had, watched the model explained. So I would probably watch that 4 or 5 times. Build your story, why you joined. Understand rev share and stock. So you got to understand, the whole program. Learn how to do 3-way calls. So the Tahoe video. Builders Bootcamp. Make a list of 50. I also have examples of like social media reach outs I've done. And then advanced techniques. I have like landing pages, and then how to invite people to events.
Cool. And is that something that you're open to sharing once you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Joseph, I think that was your item. Is there something that you wanted specifically on that, or to add to it, or vision with it?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, my thought was just kind of piggybacking on.
Oh, no, it was Joseph.
that?
It was Joseph, and then Richard followed up. I was going back through the chat to see where it came from.
So I was just thinking that the framework around Activate is just fantastic. I like how it took, all the information and condensed it in a shorter amount of period. So my thought was just to create, some more duplication in leaders. Like I know a lot of people that are building that have 5 agents, right? Or 10, and they need a framework, whether that is, taking the key points from all the amazing videos that you've done, Casey, and condensing it in a shorter version that'll just get them in momentum. Because once they get in momentum, then it's nonstop. And then also having maybe something tangible, right? The tracking systems. Leo implements a 2-10-40, which is fantastic, and agents that are implementing that find a lot of success. And Brent has the first 30 days. So if we take all that and put it in some kind of 2-day curriculum or something that we can hand off, I think that it would give people a jump start.
I love that. And what do you think? Because there's a lot of people that we noticed as I was looking at the report and we were planning for this last event that have organizations that that they're not getting paid on because they're not building personally at a rate to be paid on the organizations that they have. And so they've already got some kind of experience, obviously, if they have a group or if they have an organization. And do you see those being two different things? Do you see them being, a group of people that already has experience as an organization and, hey, let's get you actually compensated on the organization that you have and grow to the next level, which then, everyone's organizations grow as a result of that, and they're benefiting, right, from what's been built or being built. Do you see that as one group in and of itself that's focused a little bit differently than maybe for the brand new person that is, doesn't have an organization yet and wanting to grow and build, and there's two different things, or a combination? How do you guys see that?
Personally, I have a guy in my group. He has 60 people in his org, and he's only recruited one, so he pays no attention to it because he doesn't get paid on it. But would I treat him differently? No, I would basically treat him like he's just starting out, but he has to want it as well,
Yeah.
Hey, Casey, I think we should do or maybe another one of these builders called the Power of 5. Like you and Rick did something that just shows the power of 5 people, right? And just really I think that would be like an instrumental part of this potential series, or possibly just doing another one with the Power of 5 presentation. I think that'll be super cool because it really shows the model and how fast it grows, and you can create some massive leverage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, particularly during this time, there's a lot of people that we have within our organization that could be amazing for. I mean, with the revised qualification of 30 instead of 40 to open up level 7 now, I think that's great. However, we actually talked to the company and they said there's not even 30 people throughout the entire company that actually makes a difference for. So it wasn't about that. It was about a more competitive story in the market. Yet, as I looked, through the organization, there's still we have several people that are not getting paid on their groups. So, and they're also not plugged in and not engaging, obviously. So that could be a way to lift and help elevate leaders for sure. Thank you guys for the links that you've put in the bottom. And okay, so we will, we'll put something together and then come back to you and get some input and feedback and see what you'd like and how you'd like to be part of it. Because of course, everyone's welcome. And then I think that is everything. We've got about
Casey, I was just going to say, I think the other part, and Joseph said this, but I'll just echo it. The part of Activate for agent attraction that I was excited about when he threw out that idea, I think it's a great idea, Joseph, was the accountability, the tracking part for the 30 days, like having a framework for people to plug into. I've tried running an accountability call for agent attraction daily for a couple of years off and on. And people go in waves and they start and stop. And I think when you focus the effort into a shorter period of time, you're it's a launch and a 30-day period. It's a lot easier to get people to be you're not doing this forever. It's a short period of accountability to get some momentum. That's part of the power of it. And we do it in a group. It gets more exciting when there's more than 3 people on the accountability call.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what would you guys think about doing it going into EXPCon?
Awesome.
Yeah. Selena, you look like you're going to pass out. Is that with excitement or overwhelm?
No, a little both. Excitement and overwhelm. Totally doable.
So the month of
she did look like she was going to pass out.
the month of, well, and so the month of September is the full month before EXP Con to set people up for a win, and not have it be too long. I'm just thinking, do we use it and start it earlier as a way to get some momentum, right? It's different than a production conversation for sure, because it's not a daily huddles kind of thing. However, we could have a weekly call for anybody that wants to get on there and do that, if that's something that you feel would be valuable, or if the accountability enough would be accountability enough. What do you guys think? I mean, I know we're all on a lot of calls already, so it's a matter of if it would be used and a benefit.
So I think it could be like a daily success habit tracker, just like I would be doing. We have a daily success habit tracker for recruiting at Workman. So it would be doing it much the same way. And it would be submitting that. And then, you know, same thing I'm going to be doing for Activate for the productivity and production. It would be, you know, we would be doing huddles a certain number of times. And again, huddles are not supposed to be 30 minutes, guys. Huddles are supposed to be 15 minutes or less. So, you know, and we could build the community inside of Circle the same way I'm doing it for this. So, you know, it could be done exactly the same way.
Casey, quick question. On a different note, just from a leadership perspective, how do we segment the group to find out who is actually interested, right? Because there's people, again, you know, there's 90,000 agents here, 10% do it. The other 90% want to do it. They just don't want to take action. I find a lot of people fall into, what were the three categories? That
People that are in growth,
Jose,
people that are in blame, and people that are on their way out.
there's that three, and then Jose, there was the resentment, what was it?
Resentment. I have it right here, actually.
Resentment, resistance.
Resentment, resistance, and revenge.
And revenge. And I've seen that, right? So the resentment is you have it, they don't, but they haven't done the work to get it, right? And then they what was it? Resentment, regret, you know,
Resistance.
resistance, regret, and then their revenge is they leave. Because they can't get it. Like, how do we get the people to present themselves that are interested and just talk to them about it? Because the people that don't have it and are not doing it and are failing in other areas, they see this as a reason for them to say, oh, you guys are just interested in recruiting and I'm leaving.
So what I would say about that is it's like anything else, it's a personal conversation. So if I was gonna have a personal conversation, I wouldn't take it to the masses. I would take it to the people that have confidence, that have posture, that are already succeeding, that have credibility, that have influence, that are not tapping into this, and say, you know, just checking in. I don't want you to ever feel left out. So this is a check-in conversation, and there's a group that's being put together for people that are already creating success in production and are successful in production, that want to use their influence to help agents at this time that really need help and would benefit by being at EXP. And we're running what's called an Activate group, which is going to be, you know, the simple how-tos, a community of doing it together for 30 days. Is that something that you'd like to be included in and be a part of, or not? And the or not is really important, because that's not about you pressuring them into that. It's just that, would you like to be included in that or not? Because if you don't want to be included in it, we won't, you know, that conversation over. And that's a quick conversation, easy conversation that can be had. And you kind of know who most people know who those people are in their groups or in their organizations. It's not for email for sure. I wouldn't think. However, I suppose it could be. So depending on how you look at it. Okay, cool. So we will put some things together, and then on August 1st, which is our next builders call, we'll come back to this conversation with some more concrete things in place around that, around structure, dates, ideas, timeline, all that kind of things. And so we'll look forward to having you back on that call to layer in that aspect of the conversation and what we'll be talking about in our next conversation.